Okay guys, so we have to talk about visual literacy, cartoon strips analysis. I'm quickly discussing this with you. Now we have done visual literacy before. We did it in the form of advertisements. That was the one where we had to analyze why do we make advertisements and what are they trying to sell. So there was a specific thing that you had to work with there. Now with cartoon strips, or otherwise called cartoons as well, it is a bit different because we are looking at the satire. You remember the word satire, the thing that we make a joke out of something serious, the satire. So they use satire a lot in cartoon strips as well as other figures of speech, which I will discuss with you on the last slide. Now, the difference between a cartoon strip and a cartoon is the amount of frames that we have. Now, another easy way to identify it is like those graphic novels that you all read, the DC comics and the Marvel comics and the Super Striker, and all of those are part of your cartoon strips or visual literacy. They all tell a story which you are specific focused on, and this is going to teach you how to analyze it. We're going to look at the basics of visual literacy now. So we're going to discuss specific points of it, and then afterwards I want you to please complete the worksheet and see how far your knowledge goes. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoy this. So the first thing that we talk about is jargon. Now, jargon is special words or expressions that are used by a particular profession or group and are difficult for others to understand. Okay, that's the definition of it. So what does this mean for us? If you are working in a specific job, you have specific language that you use to explain projects to your colleagues much better and faster and quicker. It's everybody in that system will understand exactly what you are talking about. Now, let me give you an example. One of the examples I can give you is in computers where they talk about RAM. Now, for me, if you were talking about it in English about RAM, I will see a little sheep running around going meh, meh, meh. But in computers, when you talk about RAM, it means random access memory. So instead of saying random access memory, people just shorten it to RAM. So they acronymize it. And then the other things I talk about are, for example, backup and GR8. I can't even tell you what those mean. But yeah, people on computers will know what it means. Then in law enforcement, you will identify some of these acronyms. It's CSI, APB, BOLO, and PERP. We all know them because of our TV shows that we watch every day. But these are common language for people who work in law enforcement, and it helps them to communicate quicker. If you can think, in law enforcement, there are emergency situations, so they need to discuss things as quick as possible to get to the point eventually. Then in common examples, I can give you UFO, poker face, ballpark figures. These are all phrases and things that everybody uses every day and everybody understands them, but they are part of a jargon when you talk about it specifically to the language. And if you explain it to them, they will also know immediately what it is. So if I say to you, let's all have a poker face, you will all immediately know what to do to be able to create a poker face. The next thing we are talking about are frames. Now, this is very simple, but I need to discuss it with you. It refers to the blocks of the cartoon strip. It's physically the block around the picture, guys. So you can get them in different shapes and sizes. For example, these two that I've given you, it can be a block shape or it can be a round shape. And in some extreme cases, there will be no block, a physical line around the picture. And that usually indicates something. People in cartoons use everything for a reason. It's very close to poetry. You don't just use a punctuation mark in poetry. Everything means something. Now, a lot of the time it happens in cartoon strips as well. Everything means something. So even the block or the frame can be very important to what the writer is trying to say to you, to convey to you, what message. Okay, now we look at the speech bubble. Now, you guys have been knowing this since grade 4, so don't tell me you do not know what a speech bubble is. But okay, let me help you. It refers to the balloon shape above character's head where their speech is written. Okay, so that is physically where you read the storyline and in which the writer usually puts the satire or the puns or the figures of speech that they are using to make you understand the things much better. Thoughts are written in each speech bubble that have dots coming from the character to the bubble. So those are also called thought bubbles. So let me give you two examples. This is what a speech bubble can look like, and this is what a thought bubble can look like. They may change in shape and have indefinite lines for thought bubbles, but you will get the gist of it if you start reading cartoon strips. Now, facial expressions are very, very important. This is the only way that the writer can convey the information that he needs, the emotion of that person. So there's a lot of deduction in this facial expressions, and body language is the other one we are going to discuss in a little while. So when you do facial expressions, it refers to the feelings of the characters as they can be read on their faces. So it should be very expressive when you start drawing cartoon strips. Now, I've given you an example here. What do you think this is going to represent? Or this one? Or that one? Now, the first one I used emojis is excitement. And how do we know that he is excited? His eyes are wide, the mouth is open, and the hands are being waved around. So you immediately know that this person is showing excitement. Even the eyebrows are lifted. So these all work together to show you that this person is excited. The next photo is surprise, or you can even say shock, because the eyes are once again wide, but the eyebrows are up on the forehead, furrow, turned a little bit to the side as well. And the mouth is open with no smile. So you can see that this immediately shows shock. The next one is happiness. Eyes are almost closed, big smile across the face, and teeth are showing. Now, guys, when you explain this to me in a cartoon analysis, you have to be expressive. You have to tell me the eyes are almost closed, big smile across the face, teeth are showing. This indicates that the person is happy. If you do not do that, then we do not know. You can't just say because his face says that way. You have to be specific when you are analyzing this, and have to be useful sentences when you explain this. Body language refers to the posture and gestures of the characters. Now, I've given you 3 bananas here. Okay, don't laugh. That's the ones I used. Okay, but you can see they have arms and feet and faces. So by using specific characteristics in their body language, you can analyze what they are feeling. In the first one, it's excitement because his hands are up in the air, open arms to indicate welcoming. Legs look like they are dancing, okay, or jumping up and down, or whatever the case may be. And when you explain body language, you have to be as specific as that once again. The next one, can you think what he is doing? I think he is showing disapproval or annoyance, if you want to go that far. Arms are folded in front of them, so it's a closed posture. Their head is bent forward and they have a frown on their face, and tapping foot shows annoyance. So, the frown as well on the face. But remember, you cannot specifically talk about the face when you talk about body language. If you say body language, you have to talk about the way the stance, the arms folding, the feet are doing. And when you talk about facial expressions, you would say his brows are furrowed, his eyes are big, his mouth is turned in a disapproving way. That all indicates that the man is showing in disapproval, with a banana in our case. And then there's an unsure one as well. The hand is on the face, that is holding the chin, folded arms in front of the body, and a bent knee usually shows that the person is not very confident, and that's why they are not standing up. So if you were talking about facial expressions, you could say that he has an unsure mouth form in there, and his brows are folded to the sides, his eyes are open but not yet sure. So those are all part of your body language and indicating your body language. Tone refers to the feelings that the characters have and show in their language. So this is the way also they talk to each other, the things they say or don't say. It's also part of that. So the tone is connected with the facial expressions and the body language of the characters. So I'm just giving you 3 expressions of 3 pictures here. This one for Lockdown Cluedo, hey, I won. You can see the mother in the background. She is not very impressed. You can see her eyes are only halfway open. Her mouth is pulled in a little small way. And this shows that she is not very impressed with what the grandmother and the little girl are doing. The grandmother looks happy. She is smiling. Her eyes are wide open. And she's rather shocked that she won. And the little girl is just explaining what's going on. The next one is the squawk, for example. That is the two, it's Eve and Madam, and they both are looking very shocked. Their eyes are open, their mouths are a little bit closed, but they look rather shocked for me. And then the last one is where they are jousting. Let the vacuum joust begin, bring it on. The one looks very challenging towards the other. You can know this by their open eyes, that smirk on their faces, or the mouth is pulled in a smirk. And this all makes this more exciting for them all. And you can see that they are challenging each other. Then lastly, I want to remind you guys again about your figures of speech. All of them are used in visual literacy. Some are used more than others, but all of them are very important in visual literacy. So I'm just going to remind you, simile, remember, comparison using as or like, metaphors, comparison without as or like, personification, giving an inanimate object a human quality, onomatopoeia, that is the sound that things make, like boom and wham and shock and, all of those ones that we always read in our comic strips. Alliteration and assonance is also used quite often. And then the big one that everybody always uses are puns, the play on words. So you must always see if you can find a play on words. Then most of them are written in satire or satirical. And then you must be able to identify that as well. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture. Let me know. Please complete the worksheet and we will mark it as soon as we get together.